Inside Ag on KTVB is sponsored by the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation, empowering Idaho agriculture.
When you pick up a head of garlic at the store, you probably aren't thinking about what it took to grow it.
And apparently it's a lot.
Yeah.
Growing garlic in Idaho starts months before winter even sets in. As our Hunter Funk found out, it's not as easy as it sounds, and it doesn't sound easy because there are a lot of more restrictions than you'd expect. Hunter?
Yeah, I learned a lot on this one. There are only a handful of garlic farmers in the state, and it's because it can be challenging. It's carefully regulated with strict disease rules, and it takes hours of hands-on labor. One local grower is pulling back the curtain on what it really takes and how new grant funding could change the future of garlic in the Gem State. Garlic goes into the ground in early October, tucked in and left to weather the winter.
You plant the garlic, and typically you're going to plant it 3 to 4 inches deep, about 6 inches apart, and you want to give it some nice fertilizer and make a nice fertile seed bed for it. And then you tuck it in for the winter, and there's not really much to do until the spring.
Then the real laborious work begins.
It's just a game of weeding for the next couple months. Until you get to June.
There are two major groups of garlic, softneck and hardneck. With hardneck, it requires cutting off the flower stalk, called a scape. It's so the plant will put all of its growing energy into the bulb.
Typically 3 to 4 weeks after you cut your scapes. Around here, July 4th is what I always say, the first week of July, we harvest our garlic.
Harvest is just the beginning. Each bulb is carefully lifted, pulled by hand, and then hung to cure.
The way to do it is you would tie it in groups of 10 bulbs, hang it in a dark spot, your garage, a shed, and you're going to let it cure. And curing typically takes about a month. It could be quicker or longer depending on the weather.
Then comes trimming, cleaning, and peeling back the outer husks, turning dirt-covered bulbs into what you see on the store shelves.
When a consumer buys a head of garlic from me, that individual head of garlic has been touched at least 9 times. The labor is the biggest cost expense within garlic, and it's incredibly labor intense. That's typical of most specialty crops that generate large revenue from small acreage. That tends to be the trade-off.
20% of his garlic goes into stores. The other 80% is seed, so farmers and gardeners can grow it. But in Idaho, growing garlic comes with another challenge: strict disease rules.
Pretty much the whole Snake River Plain is in what's called the Idaho Allium Quarantine Zone.
That means only inspected, certified garlic can be planted, designed to keep a devastating disease called white rot out of the Idaho soil.
Once you get it in a field, you pretty much can never plant an allium in that field again.
Those restrictions make it expensive and difficult to bring new garlic varieties into the state. Right now, most Idaho growers are limited to roughly the same 15 varieties. That's where a new specialty crop grant comes in.
It's not just for Sundry's Farm, it's for all garlic growers within the state.
The funding is bringing 6 new garlic varieties into Idaho, covering the cost of seed and testing, then distributing that garlic to certified growers statewide. It's also funding new equipment.
Almost all garlic is grown in Eastern Europe, China. So the planter that this grant has purchased is from Poland.
A machine designed to modernize a process that's often decades behind, and one that all growers can use at no cost.
It will hopefully allow these new varieties to be grown on a larger scale. That's the beauty of this grant, is it's giving growers more options, but ultimately it's giving consumers more options. So when you go to Zamzows, D&B, Edwards Nursery, North End Nursery, any of the other nurseries in the state, and you go to buy garlic, the consumer has more options.
Okay, those new garlic varieties could start showing up at Idaho nurseries in the coming season, so be prepared for that. And for growers who are interested in wanting to add new varieties, we have the contact information on our website because Robert has that planter and it's free to use for all garlic farmers.
I feel ignorant, but I honestly didn't know garlic was even grown in Idaho. But
You're
I guess
not alone.
we are a great ag state. So
Yes.
Absolutely. We grow everything here. Hunter keeps teaching us about new
she
things.
sure does.
I'm teaching myself too.